Hello, and welcome back to the fourth episode. You're probably thinking, dude, this is the third episode. Yes. However, I made a mistake and I lost the files to the actual third episode and the recordings. So here we are in the fourth episode. So I've done a little bit of off-cam work, you could say, from episode 2. And what would have been in episode 3, I've worked on um, the iron, copper, stone. I also managed to research everything with red science, automating red science to the point where I was happy with it. I will show you guys around the base to catch you up. Here we can see that I've expanded the iron out and the power output as well. Down here we've got our ammo production for basic defense. During the missing episode, I was being attacked and I did lose a little bit. Not too much, just I needed a little bit more defense. Here we have the automation of the cogs, which will come in handy later for green science as well as the red science here, mixing the copper and the cogs together. Now with the research, as I said before, I had already researched everything that included the red science, so we won't have to go through that in today's video. See, I was very happy with the progress that I made in the missing episode. However, when it came down to editing it and getting to the publishing stage, I lost the files and there was no recovering it from any sort of recycling bin, sadly. So here we are into the third episode with a jump in technology and progress. But we got plenty ahead of us. Another thing to add to that, that biter's base that was below us, that was attacking us, I ended up taking that out. I took about 20 minutes, which was a shame that I don't have the footage because it was rather entertaining. Okay, up here we have the copper setup, hoping that should be enough for now, at least with the mods that I got installed. Early game, copper isn't really used a whole lot. Compare that to the vanilla game, where green circuit boards at the beginning of the game are used to make the inserters. So yeah, just overall, a bit of an expansion from last episodes. So if we jump over to the stone area, which is just top left of the current base, if we have a look, we have the stone production. We mine it all, comes in, splitting that into two. And here we have the sand production and the glass production. The sand will come in handy later on in the video with concrete production. And the glass here is very handy for the science labs, the electric science labs later on, which you'll see. We shall have some dancing disco labs. Now these furnaces are smelting stone bricks from stone, and which will be used later for stone walls and the concrete as well, which we can lay out the base with and we can run faster and it makes it look nice. Okay, so last episode there was the biter space below. I did need to research into military, which I did, and as I was attacking the biter's base below, I was using the shotgun. It is weird, I don't know how to describe it, but nonetheless, I ended up taking the base that was down here, so that was nice. We also, yeah, that radar with the turrets came in a lot of help. There is a base over there which I want to keep an eye on. We also do have more iron and copper we can expand out to. And there's more stone to the top right-ish, and then more copper to the top left. I'm going to be wary of lots of biter bases within the area. So, and I also placed more radars out, which I want to focus on getting to as well. Okay, so it's time to replace these burner furnaces with the steam generators instead. Now, between the two of them, the burners are more power efficient, they generate more power. However, you've got to consistently just put coal into them. I do want to go into steam because later on you can use the similar setup for uranium and stuff, and I don't really want to be using the mods too much to be exploiting the game. We do have the fuel processing unit, so we can change coal straight into fuel processing, which makes the coal just worth a little bit more. So if we bring the coal up here, clear out some of the trees so we have some room, and we'll start on pumping in some water. Now, we're going to take those water and we're going to turn it into steam so we can use the steam turbines or the steam generators. We do get actual steam turbines later on in the game, but that's down in blue science, I think. Now I couldn't really make up my mind on how I wanted to lay this out. It took me a couple of shots, but I eventually got there. It started off with a small-ish kind of amount of them, of the steam generators. Later on, of course, we're going to have to expand this, which, looking at this, it doesn't really look like there's too much room for expansion. I can go towards the left and clear out more trees, but that also means that the trees aren't clearing as much pollution out of the air, which then means we have to be a little bit more cautious in terms of the biters getting angry at us and evolving faster. So that's what the pollution does to the biters as well. Okay, so we're almost finished with the layout of the steam, and I'm quite happy with that. Now we do have to expand more of the coal out so we can support more of the steam production. Now if you look at the title, it is episode 3, Green Science, so that is the main objective of this episode. So we clear out some room and we're going to start on producing our green science, which I'm really looking forward to because that really opens up a lot of room for expansion and further into different technologies. From green science you can go into military, which will help us defend and clear out more of the enemy biters, and then you can also go down the blue science tech. Now there is like actual names to these: red science, green science, grey science, and like blue science. It's all like automation, logistics, military, and I can't remember what the blue one's called, but they do have names. I just call them by the colors. It's just easier. But here, I'm starting on the production of single cylinder engines, which are needed for anything motorized, such as the inserters and the conveyor belts. Seeing that Green Science takes both the conveyor belts and the yellow inserters, I will need enough of these single cylinder engines for the both of them. Now this is a part of one of the mods that I've got, adding in these single cylinder engines and other recipes to give more depth to each science pack, making it a little bit more challenging and needing more room and resource for each stage of the game. Some may call it a little bit unnecessary to have just making Factorio an already long-ish kind of game into a longer game, but I quite enjoy it, and it's been a while since I played a straight vanilla. Okay, having it here now, I am now focusing on the conveyor belt production, so then that can be used for the green science packs. After this, we will move on to getting the inserters automated, and then we'll be able to we'll assemble the transport belts and the inserters together into green science, and we can then further expand our factory with new technology in the green science tech tree. Okay, so at this point here, I am getting iron rods, which are required for the burner inserters. Okay, after we've got these burner inserters set up, we can now focus on getting to the small electric motors. For these motors, we're going to need copper wire, which here you can see that I've set up a small assembly line for those, and then we're going to need to bring in iron plates and the iron gears as well. So then the three of those together will be able to make us our small electric motors. And then from there, we take the burner inserters and these motors, put them together in the assemblers, and we get our normal yellow inserters. From there, we can then finally transport all that production line down towards the bottom, create green science, and then finally, last but not least, get into researching everything within the green science tech tree. Now, I did try and do the maths, so then I didn't have to expand too big, and I can keep things sort of constrained in having one green science per second. And well, it turns out I did the maths wrong, and the setup that I have can support more of the assemblers. So you'll see that later on in the video, but yeah, I can't do maths. Okay, so now that we've got both the red and the green science fully automated, we can bring them together and start putting them in inside of the electric research labs. And we can have a two-colored disco ball being displayed in these labs. But once we get more of the different tiers of research science, these research labs will look beautiful, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I'm unsure what sort of tech I should research first. However, I just end up researching automation too, so we can have better, well, faster assemblies. So, after setting all that up, I noticed that I was having a lack of iron plates for all my resources, so it's time to add a second line of iron plate production. And we gotta move our our ammo production out of the way, so I can extend this iron production out by a little bit. So, but in doing so, we're going to need more miners, more resources, and bigger expansion. Now, I unlocked optics earlier with the lights, so, and I noticed it was a little bit dark, and it might be a little bit hard to see on YouTube, so thought we'd go around, add some lights everywhere, we'll make the factory look beautiful. Now, more research, and I wanted to get to the stacker inserters, but I completely forgot that takes a whole plastic and oil production, which is not what we're at. So we're gonna go with advanced smelting process. This will give us access to the steel furnaces, which will just help increase overall production. I think it actually doubles from the stone furnaces to the steel. Now, this smelting area goes down a little bit further than the previous one, so you're gonna move the turrets, add more of them, give them plenty of ammo, so we can at least have some defense against the biters. Okay, we are going to also add walls, but in the meantime, I'm going to expand our disco balls out by a little bit while I wait for the stone walls to produce. Then once we've finally made those, I'll place those down. We have some nice defense. Oh crap, we ran out of them. Damn. That's a shame. Oh well, we'll get back to that later. Okay, back to the iron production. So we can get more of the iron plates, so then we can also get steel. So then we can also expand our iron production with steel furnaces instead, and then we can have more steel production. It's just an endless loop of just more of this, more of that, and more research. Now, I am just going to research logistics too, so we can have faster conveyor belts, splitters, and tunnels. This will be very handy later on with using steel furnaces, and we're going to be needing faster belts. Now, here, I just need the basic amount of steel so I can get started on getting the ball rolling with steel production. From here, the smallest amount of steel will help us get just a handful of steel furnaces, which I can use those to make more steel, and then we can replace all our stone furnaces with steel furnaces. Okay, we've got all this set up, we've got it all lined up to the main belt. We're going to add some lights up in the stone area, expand more the disco labs, more research faster because I am impatient, and from here I need to put some transport belts into storage so that I don't have to continuously run along the belts. Okay, I noticed that I wasn't getting enough science into all of these labs, so we'll place down a handful of faster inserters. Okay, we got more research. I'm looking at the stacker inserters and they're a long way down the tree. I'm not going to worry about those at the moment. Solar panels, yeah, maybe, but no. Military. I like the idea of military. That's going to come in handy when we expand our factories. We can exterminate. We also have other things we can research. We can go with better firearms, which I ended up going with. So we'll deal more damage with the bullets we have, which will be very handy. While waiting for more of the electric miners to craft, I'm just sorting my inventory out here, and then we can now expand more iron ore into our system because we now have a lack of it due to a high influx of iron plates production. Okay, back to the stone walls. Clearly I can't keep my focus, but now we have more and we can expand this wall and we can defend off of biters that will totally attack from this side. Okay, here I am now going to have a small area for steel furnaces to produce steel rods or whatever you want to call them. More research. We're just gonna research more damaging weapons. It will come in handy a lot. Okay, let's try and get this layout done correct. Now, you'll notice the wall is very close to the expansion. I do not like that. We will get rid of that. However, first we'll just set up a small area for steel. And we're going to need more coal in the production line as well to power our furnaces. I'm pretty sure the steel furnaces take more coal per second. I could be wrong. So we got one side of the production line done. I will expand that to have 2 lines. However, let's put down faster belts so we can get the steel faster. So, okay, now it's time to expand the other side. You notice that was just a jump. I got rid of the wall, got rid of the turrets. We don't need those. We're not going to need those. We're not going to be attacked from that side, hopefully. So here, we now have, well, more research to be done. I'm just going to research into faster labs, which then I ran out of green science. So as I said earlier before, I have room to expand because I did the maths wrong. So here we have more green science and more research and faster expansion. However, in doing so, I noticed that I had a lack of power, so we're going to have to go over and expand our steam output so we have more power and we'll forever not run out of power, I promise. Okay. Now I have all the steel furnaces I need. We can replace the stone ones with the steel, get more research. I was looking probably into motors, maybe so I can get trains and the car. That'd be quite handy for transport later on, and the car will be very handy for uh, taking out biter bases. However, I'm gonna go with military so I can get better ammo, and then I can also research into military science. Okay, with the military science, we will be able to expand with explosives, and well, it's going to take a bit of automation, but that automation will be very handy later on. See how beautiful that disco is? It's red, and it's blue, and sometimes yellow. Okay, we got more research, which, looking at fluids, I might get there eventually, but I end up going with uh, more explosives. That's what I'm going to call it. Okay, we require more iron. Always requiring more iron ore. It is an endless fight between needing more ore, more plates, more production, more ore, more power, more research. It's endless. However, this video is not endless. We do have to come to an end. However, this series is not come to an end yet. I will see you guys next time in episode 5. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this to your friends and maybe family. And you guys all watching, have a lovely time.